Hey everyone, how we all doing? It's Katie here, the Mountain Mystic, coming to you from the forest today, from the mountains of Colorado. I just summited La Plata Peak for the first time. This is my first ascent of this particular 14er, and it's been a beautiful day. And I'm just soaking in the mountain energy, and I want to take a minute to sort of step off the trail and bring you some practice, bring you some conversation in the way that I do. Whether or not this is your first video with me, I'm so happy to be here with you to do some of this Earth Embodiment Practice. This Earth Embodiment Practice, this practice that has everything to do with embodiment. It has everything to do with being in more skillful connection with self, further in connection with nature. And what better place than the forest, the mountains, to do this? So let's start with this practice. I have what I think I want to talk to you guys about today, which has to do with awareness, with attention, with consciousness, with discernment, all these, shall I say, teachings that the mountain teaches me. I've been up there, up above tree line. I just dropped below tree line, so I'm just now back in the trees, and but I've spent most of the day above tree line, and crossing difficult, challenging terrain up in snowbanks, having to make really big decisions. More than that, what I've been thinking about, what's been on my mind today is, again, consciousness, awareness, how we can both expand our consciousness and focus our consciousness. Mindfulness is sort of the trendy word used in this space. How can you walk through life with this high level of awareness? So you are tuned in to that which expands outside of self. You have this expanded awareness of all that's going on around you. And when appropriate, can you focus that attention? Something that's really important on the mountain. So perhaps we'll go deeper into that in a minute. But first I wanted to bring you into practice. Again, maybe this is your first time doing this with me. Maybe it's not. But we're going to keep things simple today. Most likely. We'll see. Whenever I do this practice, I kind of just start cueing it, and then we get to be taken where we're going to be taken. So it's taking a moment to sort of settle into self, find your feet on the floor, your seat in the chair. I'm kind of perched up on this rock, which means I have this really powerful grounding beneath me, but there's a good chance you're inside. So feeling into that physical connection, maybe with the chair, the floor beneath your feet. Just taking a moment as you start to take these deep breaths down into your body to feel that physical earth beneath you, that ground beneath you. And then from this space, we're going to start to take some more deeper conscious breaths. So inviting you to inhale, breathing nice and fully into your lungs, into your chest, feeling into that 3-dimensional expansion of your rib cage. And then just let your inhale naturally flow into the exhale. No fancy breathing techniques here. We're just using the breath to guide us inward. So calling upon your breath to guide you inward. Taking that inhale, calling upon the inhale to really feel into that physical expansion of your body. And then just letting it flow naturally into the exhale. And maybe with each breath, you go a little bit deeper in your body, tuning into self for what feels good and nourishing, supportive and grounding. So maybe with your next breath, you drop a little bit deeper into your abdomen. It's continuing to take these deep breaths into self. As you are continuing to remind yourself of that conscious connection with the physical ground beneath you. Continuing to take these breaths. And as you continue to take these breaths, we're going to play a little bit here. The first way we're going to play a little bit is to expand outward. So maybe you do this with the room you're in, or maybe you do this by sort of tuning into this forest and this mountain range that I'm in. Choose your own adventure here. Continuing those breaths into self. And now we're going to start to expand our consciousness outward. So tuning in to that which is right outside your body. Maybe the room you're in. Or again, maybe you want to tune into this forest that I am in. Continuing to expand outward as you stay centered in self. Okay, this is why we do this breath pattern, because the breath is going to keep you centered in self as you expand your consciousness outward. So if you're seated in the room you're in, maybe now you bring your consciousness, your awareness to the room you're in. Continue to expand it beyond the walls around you. I'm in this beautiful mountain range, so I get to start to expand my consciousness out to all the surrounding peaks. And then continuing to play with this, and I'll let you press pause to do this if you want to continue to expand outward. Maybe you continue to expand outward to the whole state, the whole nation that you're in. Maybe you continue to expand outward to the whole planet Earth. When you feel complete with that, turning your attention, your focus back fully into self. Using your breath again to really feel into that physical expansion of your rib cage, of your abdomen as you breathe. Feeling that physical ground beneath you. Your seat in your chair, your feet on the floor. Centering in self fully. Then we're going to do one more practice here. Finding your feet on the floor, your seat in the chair, really feeling into that physical connection with the ground beneath you. From the space, starting to descend, starting to drop your attention. Again, if you're inside, maybe that looks like down through the floorboards, down through the foundation, down into the earth beneath you. And if you're outside like I am, this might be easier because you can literally feel directly into the earth beneath you. So you continue these deep breaths into self. Remember that connection with self as you drop your attention downward, down into the earth. And here, maybe you close down your eyes and invite in visualization. Maybe you visualize dirt, rock, roots, soil. What is here? What is here down in the earth? And as you do this practice, I highly encourage you not to do it with an attitude of forcing your way down into the earth, but more of a getting out of the way as you allow yourself to descend, as you allow your consciousness to descend down into the earth, forming that connection with her, with ground, with earth. Slowing down your breath a little bit more as you allow yourself to descend down into the earth. What's here in the earth? And again, maybe you sort of open your mind to visualizations. Maybe you don't see anything, but maybe you feel sensation in your body, or maybe you receive intuitive knowings. What's here down in the earth for you today? In the name of connection, in the name of nourishment, in the name of grounding. If you want, you can tune into my backdrop here, this forest here. Maybe this forest here, this earth here wants to guide you down into the earth if you find it difficult to do it where you are. So again, if you want to press pause, feel free to press that pause button to stay here longer. But for now, we're going to start to reascend back up into self, up into your body. So again, calling upon your breath to take some deep conscious breaths into self, into your body. Feeling into that physical connection with self as you take your time to return back up into your body. Breathing into self as you rise back up from the ground beneath you. Maybe you do so with a heart full of gratitude. Gratitude for this earth and all the ways she supports us. And all the ways she gifts you, nourishes you, grounds you. So returning into self, I don't want to make this video too long today. But I did want to share some more words on this topic of our conscious awareness and the conscious use of our attention in this world. I'm someone who likes to think big. I'm someone who likes to think big and deep and sort of look around at the world and take it all in and then ask big questions like, what are maybe the most important problems in our world, or what are the most significant skills that we could learn that would make the biggest impact in this world? And one that I continue to come back to is this practice of cultivating skill with your consciousness. So cultivating skill with your awareness and with your consciousness. So again, we can kind of use the word mindfulness here. That's kind of the trendy word that speaks to this. But when we speak to mindfulness, I don't think it often quite gets to this point that has to do with this skill. It's a very specific skill that has to do with how expanded your consciousness can be and how focused your attention can be. Knowing that it's a spectrum, we can think of it as maybe like a pendulum swinging, but I think that oversimplifies things, because you can have expanded awareness and focused attention. And if this, conversation is getting a little bit too kind of technical, intellectual, I'm going to shift us here to story time, which is, why I call myself the mountain mystic, why I do what I do, which is climbing mountains. Climbing mountains over and over and over again is because, yes, they're beautiful and they bring me so much joy, such deep fulfillment. And also the journey that is climbing mountains is an incredible teacher. And it teaches you this. It teaches you how to focus your attention when needed. It teaches you to expand your consciousness, right? You're out in the forest, you're out in the mountains, And, you stand on top of these peaks higher than all else, and you are able to soak it all in. And then you're able to focus in on maybe one particular peak and then expand all the way back out, soaking in the whole area. So an invitation to practice this, because the other thing I notice is, people come out to the trails, to the mountains, and they don't have this skill. They maybe, have the attitude that the only thing that matters is charging forward to summit the peak as quickly as they can. And because of that, they're not mindful of, where they're walking. It's so easy to, trample wildflowers and, make marks off trail in our attempts to get to where we're going. And I notice this all the time, even in people who spend so much time outdoors. And if we're tuned in, nature will teach us. If we're tuned in, then nature will speak to us. We just, took a misstep and killed a flower or a sapling. And nature will tell you. Nature will teach you. But it's easier for nature or life in general to teach you if you are open to receiving the teachings. So there's this attitude, right, where you can walk through life being open to receiving the teachings that are here, because we're always learning, right? We're always learning. And so these, trips up a mountain or through the forest or wherever it is you're walking through life, can you adopt this attitude of being open to receive the teachings you're gonna receive? Because again, we're always learning. We're always learning. There's always more to learn. There's no perfecting this process. So can we be open? And can we also, have those times where we sit in a meditation practice and, deliberately working on these skills, this expanded awareness, this focused awareness. And I highly encourage you to do that. I also encourage you to join me in the Earth Embodiment practices that I teach. I like to teach in a way where I'm bringing nature in, I'm bringing more of self in, so it's not just you in your head. That's a powerful way to meditate, is just you up in your head. I do that a lot. I've done that a lot in my life, but I've also found myself in spaces in life where just making myself focus inside my head was actually doing me harm. Not good. So, just speaking to that, to the point that there's this infinite number of ways we can meditate and we can do embodiment work. So find ways that work for you. And again, if, doing these sort of fun, creative, often nature-based meditations speak to you, that's a cue to join me in the We Are the Forest membership. There's a whole library there of guided meditations, embodiment practices, earth activations. And when you sign up, you can join us in Circle. You can join us in Circle live on Zoom so that we can be in practice together, which is my favorite way to connect with you all, doing this sort of practice together. Okay. I'm going to keep moving. Going to get back out there on the trail. I'm on my way down, so I'm heading down to the creek. I've got many more mountains to climb on this trip I'm on out here. If you know me, I've spoken to the fact that I'm training for my third 100-miler. And so I'm up here in the mountains, kind of doing 14er repeats, one after the next, to train for that, which is really just my excuse to be out here in the forest and the mountains as often as I can. All right. Big love to you all. If you're still here hanging out with me, make sure to leave a comment. Let me know that you're there, you're listening. Hit that like button if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe button. And join us in membership. Join us in Circle. All right. Catch you guys next time.